I don't enjoy cleaning the frame and polishing up every bolt on the wire wheel, but you have to get a reasonable job. Well, that's the wheels and the hubs off both sides. There's a split pin runs through these tie rod ball joints, and they were rusted in. Had trouble knocking them out, ended up cutting them off and sort of punching the remains of the split pin out. The top and bottom ball joints are fairly tight fit into the hub. There's a shim washer there that I didn't want to lose, so I put a cable tie through the groove in there that secures them to the hub. The top wishbone there is still supported by the shock absorber, and the bottom one's free. I'll go ahead now and remove those wishbones or A-frames and the shock absorber and get that off both sides next. Oh, that's the wishbones off. The clevises on the bottom rail there support the bottom swing arm or A-frame, and the clevises up here support the top A-frame. The tie rod has come off. It connects to the hub directly, and internally there connects to the steering column. The steering column has got a big nut on the bottom there with a clip through it in case that falls off out in the paddock. It's got two bolts at the top of the headstock there that go through, and they've also got split pins on the inside in case they rattle out. That block that supports that is split here. The two halves come off the steering column. I think I can get that out without taking the tie rods off or the handlebars off. That's what I'm going to pull next. Well, that's everything removed from the front end. There's really only the swing arms and shockers need releasing from the rear to have the frame bare frame. Haven't come across any issues with the frame so far. Fixed the shoot off bolts problems yesterday. I probably need to stand back and see whether there appears to be any sort of twist in it or anything. But so next job on the front end is to give it a bit of a wire brush and see how well it cleans up. I thought I'd take a break from this cleaning and have a play with my new engine. I made up a little funnel out of a piece of aluminium just so I could get fuel into there easy. See my fuel level in my filter petrol tank. That's idling. While I'm having a play, I've been cleaning off the front of this chassis using a die grinder and a little wire brush, shooting around. I'm going to get all this top half cleaned off, put some rust protector on it and spray it before I turn it upside down and take the rear wheels off. I'll probably reassemble all the front end so that I can tip it up the other way and have it roll around on the front wheels when it's hooked up the other way. I've shortened up my rope there and trying to get into a lot of the nooks and crannies with this little brush to knock a bit of the rust off. But yeah, a fair bit of dirt's fallen down. That bike's about to stop by the sound of it. It's probably run out of fuel. I'm going to try turning the choke right off. I might have actually run better with that right off. So she's run out of fuel in the tank there. I'll shut it off. I'll use the run stop switch here Boom. And turn the ignition off. Well, the front end there has been cleaned with a wire brush and then some phosphoric acid put on to neutralise the rust, converts it to a phosphorus material that etches a little bit and is good for a paint base. I've been washing and brushing all the front end components. They've all now had a dab of the phosphoric acid. I'll let it cure a little. The phosphoric acid foams up white in some areas. I don't know whether that's specifically where it hits the rust or whether it does that when it hits plating and stuff on the parts. I'll give them all a good wipe down with turpentine or something to wipe any residue off before I paint. I think I'll give it an hour or more, go and have some lunch. Then start assembling this. Well, no, I won't assemble it, I'll be painting a lot of these parts, spraying a bit of black paint on them, so I'll need to hang them up. And I'll paint some frame and I'll paint some of these parts, and then I'll be probably leaving it for about a day for that to harden up. I didn't show you all the cleaning. Some of these parts were filthy. The backs of these wheels, these wheel hubs and things, had quite a bit of shit to, they were just red rust or red dirt, bit of both. Got some bits hanging up for painting. I've put one little shot of black paint on them. Some tie rods there, a couple of upper wishbones, a couple of lower wishbones, a couple of front hubs, steering column, a couple of pretty shitty shock absorbers and a handlebar. These are just some of the bracketry that hangs on the steering wheel and steering column. A couple of brackets there that where the ball joints bolt onto the uprights, and a couple of clips for the brake lines. That's a bracket there for the starter relay and neutral relay. Over on the bike itself, it's not great lighting under here, so I've just tried to put a spray, one spray on everything from halfway up. From down there, there's it's still dirty. Up the top here, hopefully pretty much got a light spray of black. I don't know where I've missed. Doesn't really matter at this point, at least it's relatively clean. And I can start reassembling pieces, and if I find areas that I've missed later, they can get another second shot of paint or first shot of paint, as it turns out. I'm going to leave it there tonight and let that paint harden up. Watching paint dry ain't much fun, so get out to your shed and find something better to do.